And we're live.
Hi-yo.
Hi.
We are here at Lucky 13 Saloon Podcast, and we have a special guest today.
Arty from St. Vitus.
Hi.
Yes. If you don't know St. Vitus, for all those out-of-state listeners, St. Vitus is the other metal place over in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Been around for what, 7 years now?
7 years, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And they get much bigger shows than they should for the size of the place. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, I saw
It's
Anthrax
awesome.
over there, and
It's
I know Megadeth
unbelievable.
played there.
Gojira.
It's fucking awesome.
Gojira, yeah.
Yeah.
I just lent Joe from Gojira my Marshall JMP for a recording session.
Oh, that's
Which
cool.
was like kind of surreal to me. Like text me, he's like, "Hey, dude."
Yeah.
Oh, hey, bro.
Yeah.
He still has it though, that fucker. Like,
Yeah, well.
he's had it for like 2 months. Come on, man,
motherfucker.
bring it back.
Never trust
Come
a
on,
French
Joe.
man.
Yeah. That's awesome, though.
Come on, Frenchie, bring it back.
Yeah, man. So it's fun. It's cool. I remember I worked the first week you guys opened up. I remember I went in there. I was
You
like,
came in with
fucking-
Santos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
me and
remember.
Chris
I was
came in.
working.
Yeah. Me and Chris came in. I was like, fucking. We heard about it and was like, fuck, man, let's go check it out. So yeah, it was cool, man.
Yeah, and I was very thankful.
Yeah.
You know,
It was
like,
very clean at first, remember? We went
Yes.
in and I was like, it's so clean.
It
Yeah.
still is. I mean, the
It's
bathroom's
still clean. You just have a
alright.
lot of stickers and shit on the bathroom.
Yeah, it's hard to control that shit. We tried for a while, but it's just too much.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep
You
up.
can't control that shit. It's fucking out. It's out of control. And you know what?
I like
Whatever.
to keep a mirror visible. That's the only thing that drives me crazy.
Yeah, for the ladies.
Yeah.
room, you gotta
Oh,
keep-
Yeah.
George razor bladed little
Yeah.
spots.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
In each bathroom.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that
Yeah,
was
if
smart.
you have little spots of mirror, then everyone's happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise,
No, but
it's just weird.
Like part of that whole thing is like we didn't actually open as a venue.
Right.
You know, it was
Mm-hmm.
like much like you guys. You
Right.
know, like well, at least with your old space. You know, it was like, and when you guys had shows there, it was fucking insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's Cerebral Bore playing that fucking place.
It's, dude. Yeah, I live four blocks from it.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. It was like playing somebody's living room. It was kinda
Insane,
cool,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean that shit's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it was
really
cool.
And like we didn't intend on being a full-time venue, and it's just like the way business sort of morphed. You know, it's like, hey,
Well, you know, especially at the time, I mean, we were still the small place, and we were looking for a bigger space for a while. But
And
there was
a lot of places to play were closing. So
Yeah, there were a lot
you guys just happened to be open at the moment when it needed to happen somewhere, which is
Yeah.
great.
well, it was actually a couple of years later was really when, like maybe 3 or 4 years in, was really like the pinnacle,
Right. Mhm.
Because a lot of places closed, and there was really no place else to play,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's funny, like we at our owner meeting last week, we were talking about this, like how there was this sort of like different spells of evolution in the shows in New York, where it's like, okay, we get the reunion shows, right. So there's tons of reunion, the secret shows,
Yeah.
right. So that went on for a while. Then the reunion shows happened, and like it's funny how a lot of that is sort of like not as often as it used to be.
Right,
you know,
that's
and-
true.
You know, because doing the late night shows is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it does get a lot of press.
But you
know.
had fucking Nirvana played there without fucking Kurt. But I mean, you had Dave Grohl in there, and like that was.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I know obviously Kurt wasn't an option, but
That would have been something.
Yeah, that would have
yeah,
been
You get a
I mean, but
necromancer
to have
up
Jay
in there.
Mascis,
Yeah.
you know, like that. I love the idea that they did to have all women do it.
Yeah.
At the Hall of Fame, and then when they came to us, Lord had to go to Australia, so she didn't perform, but St. Vincent did, and Joan Jett and Kim Gordon, and the Jim Mascis for me personally was like, it was so perfect.
Right.
Just watching him play those songs and sing those songs, and when he would hit a solo, you'd just be like, oh yeah, like you could just feel the Dinosaur Jr. influence
Right.
on everything,
Right.
like from whether it be Nirvana or metal bands, or especially shoegaze bands from England in the early '90s, which was completely influenced by Dinosaur Jr. But like he did Drain You. Oh my god, it was fucking incredible. Like, that's the only song I actually went in and watched.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I just sat at the bar and I felt like I was watching TV. I was like, this isn't happening.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking that's pretty surreal though. Like just. You know, I can't imagine having, bands like that come in and play. I mean, that's pretty surreal, especially like, growing up and all that shit.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know?
it was like the last 7 years have sort of been almost like a checklist for me, like a bucket list
Right.
Or, like Fate's Warning.
Yeah.
So a lot of the older '80s bands, like a lot of that shit was really
So
exciting.
who's
for me to
who's
get.
played on your checklist and who has not played on your checklist?
who's not played? Man, not many. Truth be told, Slayer.
Slayer.
All right.
Yeah, Slayer was one that I definitely like. We've talked about endlessly, but I think probably you can edit this out, but Jimmy Duff probably wouldn't let that happen.
No, we're not. We were just talking about him last week.
Yeah, well,
He's not fucking listening to this.
No, but well, it's-
Somebody who goes there probably is.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, whatever, man. Because I went to when I went to Slayer two weeks ago. I walked into I saw Jimmy walking around. Then I walked into the area where all the bands were hanging out and shit like that.
Green room?
Yeah, I backed into the green room and Jimmy was hanging out. And I can't even get eye contact out of him.
Nah,
He's just
he's a
like
douche.
pretends I'm not there. You know what I mean?
That's so weird. That whole thing is so weird. I mean,
It's so
whatever.
stupid.
I went to a taping of That Metal Show, and I got sat next to him.
Oh, awesome.
And he's just so big.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like I felt like I was like 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
And of course, like, I don't know if it was Jim Florentine or whatever, like did a shout out, like he's wearing a Duff shirt. Like, oh yeah, Jimmy. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there and I went like this. And they the camera went up on it and then they reshot it.
Yeah.
And they used the other shot. And I was like, I was a little drunk. So I was I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Whatever.
No, whatever.
It's not like you were like, fuck this guy,
No, of course.
Yeah.
I don't even know him. It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter though. He hates anyone that he thinks is stepping on his turf, which is ridiculous.
Which is a shame because honestly, like Duff's is a cool place. He's got a great bar over there.
Whatever.
and yeah, whatever, man. Like it is. It's a very cool, decorated
Whatever.
place.
Yeah, decorated.
absolutely.
A lot
I
of
mean,
douchebags hang out.
It's a
there.
legacy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Thing,
It is.
you know?
It is. And I give him props for what he's doing. You know what I mean? But like, dude, the scene isn't like that fucking
big.
Big
That we
So-
should be so divided.
No, man. And like metal's getting. I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger. There's no reason.
It goes up and down.
It does go up and down.
We have our phases where it's popular and not popular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like 3 or 4 years ago was sort of like this pinnacle of black metal, and like for in my eyes, I sort of see the ebbs and flows of the different genres.
Yeah.
Doom has been more prominent as of late, but I feel like things are. What's cool about it is that things are sort of mixing together.
Yeah.
And like the new Yob record, although Yob has always been doom and psychedelic.
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon, but like to do it right is fucking amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I just and black metal too. Black metal is a genre that's morphed so much, and then you have there's so many people who are like so diehard about it.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be like this shitty sounding fucking bullshit. Like, and I don't agree with that. Actually, my favorite black metal records are all the ones that sound really good.
Yeah. I like better sounding records too.
It's just there's so many mini subgenres now that it's totally crazy. Like it's hard to even put them all into. There's all teeny tiny categories within each category. It's become totally insane.
But it's all the same shit. Again, like that's why I always love you guys. You guys are always like very open and accepting, and it's like we should all be of all genres and all of it, because I always felt that I grew up in the hardcore scene, and like I always thought it was so weird when everybody would like the punk guys and the skinhead guys, and everybody was like against each other. This is so fucking stupid.
It was bad back then, though.
It was
People used
bad
to get
back
in all kinds of fights and riots.
No, it was ridiculous.
Punk versus skinheads versus metalhead. Like it was pretty stupid.
I saw Slayer at the Felt Forum on the South of Heaven tour, and that was like that show. I'd never seen that many different
Types of people.
in one space, and like it was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of a fun bloodbath.
It's kind of fun. Listen, I remember going to see Suicidal Tendencies at like years ago, and like Pantera was the opening band, which was crazy. But dude, it was fucking insane. It was like skinheads versus long hairs, and then punk rockers. It was like
that shit doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
No,
it doesn't.
it doesn't.
Which is good.
Which is
It is
great.
good.
I think it's great, and I think it also creates more interesting music. Where like you have these, even the crossover bands these days. A band like Power Trip does like crossover in such an interesting way, and I don't know. I think it's really good, and the internet has changed everything so much that it just like. It feels like it's easier to be like people argue on the internet about this and that and the other thing, but like I feel like the scene has become closer, and it's like like I'm all about let's all work together to do something that's cooler and outside of the norm for everybody. It's like I've never lived a normal life. I've been on tour basically for 25 years and doing very underground shit and some pretty major shit, and it's like it's fun. I want to instill all that shit in my daughter, you know, even though she listens to fucking Frozen. But
she's young. She's
yeah,
young.
it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. So who else is on your bucket list that hasn't played?
Ozzy. Although we had Zach.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sanctuary.
All right.
Sanctuary is a big one for me, and I tried really, really hard to get them. Yeah.
Didn't the singer die?
He's dead now.
He's dead now.
But before he died,
okay.
I came close like 2 or 3 times. They were supposed to do a tour with Flotsam and Jetsam, and they dropped off that. But they're booking it just a fucking tool, and he's never dealt with us. So,
all right.
Yeah, I won't mention
I saw
his
them.
name.
God,
other than he likes little boys, I think.
I saw them with Overkill last time I saw Sanctuary.
Oh yeah, Gramercy. Oh, it's not.
Terminal 5.
Terminal 5.
Yeah.
I saw them on the reunion. I saw them twice at Gramercy, and I was like there was maybe 200 people there each night. But I mean, I worshipped them when I was a kid.
Right,
I saw them open for Megadeth. I think it was So Far So Good So What. I can't remember what tour it was, but it was just fucking mind blowing.
Right.
Worrell's hair was like down past his ass.
Right.
And he's hitting all these crazy. I was like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Yeah.
I love Sanctuary. They were a huge one. But a lot of them I've gotten, like Flotsam we got, Fate's Warning we got, Grim Reaper was another one that I really wanted.
All right.
They're actually playing Gramercy soon, which I was like, maybe because it's handicap accessible and it's easier. I don't know.
Remember we did the whole story about the guy who lost his leg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he plays in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Although the promo shots he's standing, I'm not really sure.
Oh, really?
What that's
That's weird.
and it's not Steve Grimm, it's Grim Reaper anymore. It's just Grim Reaper.
All right.
But
after he lost his leg, they were like, all right, man, you can just fucking take it.
yeah, probably. Yeah, Nick, what was that guy? He used to have he used to have a thing in Guitar Player.
Yeah.
The left-handed guitar player.
Yeah.
But no, it's I mean, there's tons. I mean, like really obscure shit that like
Right.
I was one of these kids who just kept.
To get the obscure shit though.
No, because they have to reunite. You know.
Oh, right.
I mean, pretty much. You know, ask Ed Farshty. He's pretty much bought in every fucking reunited thrash band that fucking has ever existed.
Yeah.
But you know, this, Zoetrope. I mean, there's so many. One band. Okay, my bucket list, and this is. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Long Island. It's my territory. I grew up going to Sundance, which is a club on Long Island, and
I went there a couple times.
so there's a band called Zebra.
Oh, I
Yeah,
remember
of course.
Zebra.
So Zebra was huge. Well, I mean, not huge.
They
but
were Long Island, a big
They had a
Long
gold
Island,
record
in
the early 80s. And I've been talking, like literally the singer fucking called me the other day.
Right.
I was like, oh, it's Randy Jackson.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I saw them at Lemoore.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Actually.
they're the band that played Lemore's more than anybody, over 100 times.
Yeah.
And they would do this like 8-song Zeppelin encore, and like that was like
more than Twisted Sister, yeah.
supposedly.
They played that a lot.
Although Randy, I told Randy that, and he was just like, I don't know about that.
They played a lot. I know,
Yeah.
like, I used to just go there. I didn't even know who was playing. So I know I saw them a bunch of times.
That was the beauty of Lemoore, wasn't it?
You
like
just
you just
go.
go.
Yeah.
Has Dee Snider played there before or no?
No. Yeah, so I would have killed to have Twisted, but there's certain bands that like Slayer, when we talk about that, like there's just production value involved in it. Like King Diamond, that's a bucket list, right?
Right.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Merciful Fate, possibly if they were to start playing again, but like King needs his fucking
whole space.
Yeah, Merciful
you know,
Fate
it's
wouldn't need all that though.
No, they don't. And I've seen Merciful Fate play without it. I've seen King play without it too. But yeah, Merciful Fate wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but like they're like Slayer is a band that won't play without their production.
Right,
They won't
of
do
course.
it. They're not going to play a small club. They're not the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters and Nirvana and all those people like
They're into the fire
there's a
and all
huge
that
difference
now.
between bands that come from punk backgrounds and metal backgrounds.
Yes.
It's
Right.
like, and that can be the same age. And if you come from a punk background, it's very much like, I just feel like they're willing like to fuck up. When the Descendants played, that was like, they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Literally didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They just got up, they fucking played. They were like, yeah, that was cool. And fucking left. And it was like, what the fuck just happened? Seriously? But you get these, like, even bands that won't sell the place out, like the whole fucking production value. A lot of these black metal bands from Scandinavia with the fucking pig's blood and the fucking makeup and, you know. I'll say Mayhem was pretty easy.
Yeah.
For all, like, considering I thought they were going to be a bit of a nightmare.
Right.
But there's just bands that come in and do this shit, and it's cool. And whatever. What do you need? A mirror?
Yeah.
You got your fucking makeup.
Yeah.
It's cool, and I'm into it. But like, I Zebra is like, that's a band that without a question is on my bucket list, and like only because they haven't played in Brooklyn since L'Amour's closed.
Oh, right,
Wow.
right.
So it's like, so they're the band that played L'Amour's the most.
Right.
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen them so many fucking times, and I just like, I'm a huge fan. Like I tried to get guitar lessons from Randy Jackson. When I first met him.
How old are you, Arty?
I'm 45.
Okay, we're the same age.
Yeah, I started going to shows. My first club show was King Diamond and Flotsam Jetsam at a place called Showcase in Comac.
Okay.
But before that, I saw Maiden on Somewhere in Time, and my sister she brought also a jug of vodka cranberry on the train to Madison Square Garden. I was 13, and I drank half of it.
Yeah.
And I passed out for pretty much
of course.
half of it. But it was still amazing.
Yeah.
And my first club show, my first arena show was Yes, which is my favorite band of all time.
Nice.
But yeah, it's I saw so many shows like from the age of about 15 to 18.
Yeah,
was
me
like,
too.
You know,
that's all I did.
Yeah, that's all I did.
I didn't go to
Same
school. That's all I did.
I remember seeing one of my favorite seeing a show stories was going to see Sepultura, which was not their first show in America because they played a show the night before somewhere upstate, from what I understood. But they played Sundance the second night. It was Beneath the Remains tour.
Yep.
They did a signing at Slip Disc, like the whole nine. And that was with my buddy Eddie Reyes.
Was that tour with Obituary and Sadist?
No, I
Earlier
believe that it was Ratos de Piraio who opened, another band from Brazil, punk band from Brazil.
All right.
But so we went to Sundance, and my buddy Eddie, who's recently just quit Taking Back Sunday. He's been in Taking Back Sunday for 21 years. But we grew up as metalheads, and then the emo thing kind of kicked in, and he went full force, which was cool. But basically, Eddie, like we walk in. Eddie's from Colombia,
right.
So he was like super psyched. Oh shit, man! Like he had schizophrenia painted on the back of his jacket.
Nice.
We were just such little shits, and it was the night before my SATs.
Okay.
So, and I went to Chaminade, which is like a big college prep high school on Long Island. I used to have an hour and 15-minute bus ride because that's what the fucking working class kids had to do to go to this school. The rich kids lived in Garden City. That was like 5 minutes away.
Right.
So I go to the show, and we're standing there with Max Cavalera, and Eddie was like trying to talk to him, and like he's so excited, and Max just turns to me and he's like, "You hold this," and he must have been like 18,
right.
I would say.
Yeah.
And he gives me this huge glass of whiskey, and he's like, "Hold this for me. I'm going backstage to get a blowjob."
Awesome.
It was like
Nice.
it was like before the first band even went on.
Right.
And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, nice.
I drank the whiskey. I told his wife that. Gloria.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
told her
God,
that story.
that's
Nice.
funny.
And she was like, "Yeah, that sounds like Matt."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, But that show was fun. I got home at 5 a.m. and I had to be at school at 7:30 to take my SATs.
Ouch.
I did well.
Nice.
But
Good for you.
So my mom wasn't. She like I think that because I did well in school, they just kind of let me do whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
And I played too. I was playing in bands from the time I was 15. So it was like doing King Diamond. Like I played at a place called February's.
Okay.
Which later became Hammerheads. I don't know if in Elmont.
I don't know.
It was pretty well known. It was well known because like they would give you tickets and you'd have to sell them.
Oh,
like a pay to play type thing.
Yeah.
But they didn't hold you to it if you didn't sell the tickets. So
See, that's
all
cool.
right. It was cool, but they would video the show for $20.
Right.
Right.
So I have all these fucking videos.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Of like my band when I was that age doing these shows, and the drummer went on to be in Yupicide, a New York City hardcore band.
Yep.
And I went on to do a band called Mind Over Matter, which was the next band I was in, which was like, you obviously don't know it, so it's cool. But we put out a bunch of records on a label called Rec Age, and we were sort of part of like maybe the third wave of hardcore, I would call it, in the early 90s. So we played like CBs and Wetlands, and we would play with all the all the big like Burn and Quicksand, and those bands were like Quicksand is my favorite band,
right,
in the early '90s, hands down. And then I eventually went. I'm not going to give you my band history, but it's boring. I wound up playing with almost all the guys in my favorite band. Different awesome. Stages. But yeah.
What are you doing musically now these days?
So I play in two bands. I play in a band. I guess two, but one of my old bands is doing a reunion and having a vinyl box set put out in September. It's a band called Type 11, which was sort of like we were in the emo scene. Okay. We would like tour with Hot Water Music and bands like that, but we were way more rock.
Okay.
And to the point where like emo kids would be like, this is really aggressive. I don't understand. Why is it so aggressive? Awesome. Why is this guy yelling at me? Shit like that. But I'm in a band called Primitive Weapons with Dave, who's a co-owner over at Vitus, and Eric, which I'll explain in a second, and Chris Enriquez, who never tours with us because he's always doing something else. But I'm in a band with Eric, our bass player, called Ageist, which is more like a Hot Snake style, like punk thing.
Okay.
And we switch. I play bass in that band. He plays guitar. Cool. It's the same thing with Primitive. I write all the songs. He writes all the songs in that. So it's a cool situation, but it's getting a little confusing right now because we're going out. Aegis is going out with the Get Up Kids for a week and a half in July, and then we just got offered Quicksand and Glassjaw.
Oh, nice.
For the entire month of July, which we can't do, but we're going to do the end of it.
Okay.
And Chris's other band, Spotlights, is going to do the beginning of it. I haven't even confirmed this yet. I mean, it's sort of confirmed.
Right.
I've been dealing with this all day.
Really good too.
But yeah, it's like those guys had a band drop off, and it was like I got a phone call, and I was like, oh, well, we can solve your problem if you'd like.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're asking people to go away for a month in 3 weeks' notice.
Yeah,
is
really,
that's tough.
Really
a little
close.
bit much.
Yeah,
that's tough.
But yeah, Primitive has a record coming out in September as well on Party Smashers, a Dillinger Escape Plan label and whatnot. So yeah, I'm really, really super active. The Aegis has a record coming out this year. We just did it with Jay Robbins from Jawbox.
Okay.
Down in DC, which was in Baltimore, which is super cool. So yeah, I definitely. It's funny because like my life is sort of set up way better now to go on tour as much as I want.
Even with the kid.
But I'm too fucking. Oh no, well, that's the wrench in the works
Right,
at the end of the
right.
day. But also because I'm 45 and it's like I'm smarter to know that like when we got offered the Glassjaw Quicksand thing, I was just like, well, what's the end game?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
What's the end game? Like, am I gonna? Is my band gonna be famous after this? Am I gonna like? We'll probably get paid like fucking $150 a night or something. Like, it's just immediate. Like, I go straight into the business of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, But do I want to do it? Of course, because I want to play all these cool venues and have fun with my friends and make great music. Because that's, at the end of the day, what's wrong with metal and just the music industry in general is that it's almost impossible for bands to get big.
Yeah.
Because there's no money behind it.
Yep.
So like a lot of these, like we just hung out with the guys who own Wacken Festival, and like even they were talking about it. It's like it's hard to get headliners.
Yeah.
And like what's going to happen when the big boys all retire, like Slayer retiring? I think that put everybody in fear.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are we going to do? Danny Wimmer's going like, what the fuck? You know?
It is a lot of those, and it's hard to make a living at it these days. You know what I mean? With these,
Well, I mean,
bands.
a lot of these guys made their living, like got popular because the labels were willing to put the money behind them in order for them to make the money and do it eventually. And that's not there anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
So, you get the bands like we've had, whether love them or hate them, we've had Def Heaven's first shows in the East Coast, Paul Bearer, all these bands, I regardless of your opinion on their music, like they got popular, and a lot of it, it's so hard to explain. Like when Brandon Stussy was the editor of Pitchfork, a lot of this shit went, you know what I mean, and like it went into different worlds, and it's not like he's gone from there now. Like that doesn't really have that kind of power. Vice and Noisy does a bit. Revolver is doing their best to do something that's classy and cool. I really respect them a lot. Pretty much every friend of mine works there.
Right.
But they're putting out beautiful product. People like Jimmy Hubbard are like filming this beautiful shit. Like it's it's hard, but like when Metallica goes away, when Slayer goes away, when all these bands go, Anthrax, all these bands, they're going to.
Yeah.
Because physically they can't do it anymore. You know, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, Anthrax is not the Stones.
Yeah.
They're not going to play till they're 70.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's same with all those bands. And Lars has talked about it openly. He's like, he can barely drum now. Jesus Christ.
Right.
But like, it's just like one of those things where, so who moves up? Where does it go? And they've been trying to groom bands like Baroness and Ghost. Ghost is probably the only one.
Yeah, Ghost.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And they're not
Ghost
really
is
a metal
going
band.
No, not really.
So but they're great.
Yeah.
They're fucking killer. I mean, I'm from Long Island. Bluish the Cult. Rip them off. Go for it.
Well,
Who else is doing that?
It was funny. Like I when I first heard Ghost, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" You know what I mean? But then I saw them live. I was like, "Wow, these guys
Great.
are fucking great."
Well,
Really
you
good.
like Kiss, so
Yeah.
you know. I don't
Yeah.
like Kiss.
Yeah.
But I appreciate. I saw Ghost and I was fucking floored.
Yeah, me too.
Floored. I thought it was just incredible that they could pull this off. Of course, like, you know, only people from Scandinavia could pull that off.
Yeah.
Because people from America have to fucking struggle. So,
But it's, you know, it's bands too, like, you know, some of the younger bands coming up that are getting bigger, like Power Trip. I love Power Trip. I
yeah,
think they're
Power Trip
great.
is another band. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but is what Power Trip does. Are they a band that could eventually draw 25,000 people?
Well, that's it. I don't know. And, you know, and are they going to, you know, they're young also, correct? I mean, they're young guys.
Yeah, they are. I got to piss so bad.
You know, go for it, man. Go for it.
We were in the middle of something good.
See, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know. We'll
pick it up when you get back.
When we get back.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we got no Purple this week. Purple's still in.
Purple actually posted that she was dancing tonight, and I texted her. I'm like, because Cassandra texted me and said, "Am I still dancing tonight?" Because I noticed that Kit, Purple, and Via all posted that they're dancing tonight, and I'm like, Purple told me she's not going to be back till probably tomorrow, so
Yeah.
I didn't book her for tonight.
Yeah.
So I texted Purple, I thought you weren't going to be back tonight. I thought, you know, that's why I put you on tomorrow instead. You don't ever dance on Thursdays. I put you on tomorrow instead. She goes, isn't today Thursday? That was her response. Nice, Purple.
We love you.
She doesn't know what day it is.
That's awesome.
I mean, you know, why? She doesn't need to know what day
No,
it is,
she
really.
doesn't. She doesn't.
You know?
Well, sort of.
That must be nice. If she's booked.
If she's booked,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what are you gonna
I'll
do?
keep her on track.
Next week we'll have Purple back. So
I don't even know.
yeah, why? Well, she's not around
She
next
might leave again. She has one more trip this month. She's
Oh,
away
yeah?
a lot this month.
Yeah?
So,
Well, good
I
for
don't know.
Purple.
Yeah.
Just cruising around.
Purple. Yeah. So we'll have someone else if she's not back next week. I'll ask her. I don't think
we'll get
she
Cassandra.
knows.
Cassandra's cool.
It's Cassandra.
Cassandra.
And she's in the middle of opening a place right nearby here.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, there you go. She'll be like, Cassandra, take a fucking
She's
break.
very busy.
Take a break and come on over.
I think
you know
they're
what I mean?
opening like very soon or.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
she was in
know.
here talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Arty's back.
Arty's
What I
back.
miss.
Yeah.
Not
no,
that we're just talking
bullshit.
about our dancers and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, your dancers, how are they?
Yeah.
They're dumb. No, not all of them.
Oh,
they're
Jesus.
not.
We're just talking about Purple because she's our newscaster and she didn't know that today was Wednesday. Whatever. It's not.
Yeah. Purple's
It's
usually
not-
our newscaster
she's usually our
for the
newscaster.
podcast.
I find it
I think
amusing.
you should have my daughter. My daughter
Yes.
says purple in the cutest way.
Oh, yeah? That'd be great.
Purple. She should just
how old
introduce
is she
purple.
now?
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's 4.
Aw.
Yeah, it's a.
You're going to have to record that and send it to Melody.
Yeah.
We'll have to start using it.
We were at the doctor today for her 4-year-old checkup, and she's like, apparently she has some sort of weird speech impediment that they were a little alarmed about.
Right.
And so she one of the words that she had to say was purple. Said, purple.
Yeah.
Aw.
But like she's 4. She's supposed to have a speech.
Yeah, you're
impediment.
Oh yeah,
supposed
no,
to talk
totally.
like,
Yeah, but
you
I mean,
know?
the doctor knows the difference. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
Yes.
completely trust her. So
Yeah.
Is it okay?
yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? She's so healthy. I'm looking for wood to know.
Would knock
Yeah,
on
she's
your
probably,
head.
Probably healthier than Purple.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Melody.
Yeah, she's definitely healthier than Purple. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know. Purple just smokes tons of weed. I don't think she does anything else. Though.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She drinks
She
and
drinks
smokes
and
tons of
smokes weed.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
some of the dancers are actually pretty healthy
Yeah.
because some of them are, you know, like Cassandra's an aerial performer, and
Yeah.
some of them have
you can't
actual
fuck around with
real.
that.
Yeah, so they don't fucking do drugs, and
Yeah.
they eat pretty well, and they take care of their bodies. So.
Yeah, some of them just drink
So-
like champs.
She does amazing stuff. Like she does, like if they need someone for some big performance at Webster Hall or somewhere in another city, like she goes and does all these crazy aerial hoops and silks and all this shit in the ceiling. It's fucking
I have
frightening.
a friend who's in Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, it's crazy.
And before that, she was in a show called Absinthe in Las Vegas, and she was doing something called basket toss.
What the hell is that?
It's like
midget tossing.
No.
but on a trapeze.
On a trapeze.
So like she's real small, and like this one girl, they'd swing on a trapeze and she'd throw, and she'd do like flips and catch.
Uh-huh.
wow.
Yeah.
It was like
It's
part of the
crazy.
show.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it is crazy. And it's what's crazy about it is like the amount of work that if you're able to do that shit. She's one of like 6 people that's
Yeah.
able to do that in the world.
Right.
And now
So if you can
she's in Cirque now,
right,
which is like,
right.
that's cool.
Which is
You
the
know.
big one.
Yeah, it is.
I've been practicing that. It never worked out for me. So
No.
no, it just didn't work.
Cassandra has to have her own insurance because
Yeah,
if
that
you
makes
do
sense.
that kind of thing, you have to carry your own
Right.
insurance. Which
Yeah,
is pretty
probably like $1 million. Like, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she falls on someone's head or.
I mean, technically, every band that plays your place should have their own insurance.
No, that's
Technically,
funny.
yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Actually, that was part of the Nirvana show. Was I got a email from Willie Morris about 4 hours before Doors, and they were like, "So did you guys? We need to get supplemental insurance for this from you guys because what you guys have isn't enough." And we were like,
4 hours before they played?
"Yeah, we don't want this to all be on Dave." And we were like, "I was like, well, we have we have very
good
sufficient
insurance.
Yeah,
insurance."
you have liability.
Yeah, but Dave's is this and blah blah blah, and like I had to write like this email to all the heads of William Morris, like you guys need to chill out. This is, this is going to happen at 1 a.m, and everybody here is going to be like 50.
Yeah.
No one's moshing, no one's doing anything.
Yeah.
Like if Dave's mom falls down the stairs, that's the only problem we're going to have.
Yeah.
'cause
It's
she had a
not
bad
like
hip.
it's not like
Yeah.
Hatebreed's playing.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's fine. It's gonna be fine.
And listen, those guys are getting older too. And I have to say, going to see Anthrax at St. Vitus, the pit was fucking awesome because it lasted like every time, like
5
shit came-
seconds.
Yeah, the pit would last for 30
Yeah.
seconds, and everyone's
It's
like,
like-
I don't think there was one stage diver.
no,
for
there
both
wasn't.
shows.
No, I think there was one because I remember that.
Did you go?
I was at whatever Danny Wimmer festival was happening in Philly or Camden for the second one, but the first one I was there.
Okay.
And that was it was fucking awesome.
Who is
you
the
know?
best? Who is the best?
Who was the best
Who
ever?
is the best? No, in that show.
Oh, I mean Joey Belladonna fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Joey Belladonna.
Because I've heard all
killed
these
it.
different opinions of who is the best. I've been
I mean,
asking around.
I was standing in the sound booth and I was just kind of like, I saw Anthrax. I think the first time I saw Anthrax was the Headbangers Ball tour.
That's the first time I saw them too.
Halloween and
and Exodus.
Danzig.
Because you guys are the
Was it
same
Exodus?
age.
Oh, yeah,
It's so
Exodus.
cute.
It was-
Oh no, Danzig! I'm thinking of Slayer because
Yeah,
Danzig opened for Slayer.
It was
right, yeah.
Exodus, Halloween,
Same venue, Phil Forum.
Anthrax. And I remember people were. I saw him at the in Boston at the Orpheum, and
Boston.
people were throwing fucking sneakers and shit at fucking Halloween because they were a little like
They ripped.
Yeah, but they were a little. They came out in like spandex and shit, and then you got Anthrax and Exodus who are like these trash bands. So
Yeah, they were wearing Reeboks and jeans, and like
Yeah.
the other guys
exactly.
were Europeans who were
Exactly.
like, "This is cool." Yeah.
exactly.
And you know what? Yeah, they went on to all those European bands. They all have fucking massive careers.
Oh
you know?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
That's the shit that's still popular in Europe, though.
It's fucking insane.
totally
Yeah, you were just
bizarre.
there. What did you
Yeah.
see,
It's
dude?
It's totally bizarre. I went to Steel Fest, so no, I went to Black Metal Festival.
You were in Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was all black metal. That's my shit, So.
I love it.
It was
That's
awesome.
great.
It was really
Did
good.
Aranzi Pazuzu play or like any of the
No,
Finnish bands?
I love them, and I had just seen them at MDF last year, and they played at your place also.
They
right?
sure did. Yeah,
And,
I had
they're
to go.
amazing.
Do you know Johnny Stiff?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Oh shit! Then my story sucks.
Well,
Johnny Stiff's this
the
old
listeners
fucking dude.
don't know, so tell us who he is.
I know the name.
Johnny Stiff, he booked. He's an old punk guy.
He wears a
He's
hat
Man with Van
all the time.
Man with Van. Yeah, he
I
wears
know
a hat all the
exactly.
time.
He was in here recently. He was in here.
He talks like this.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking
So
about.
he used to book
comes in here once in a
Wetlands.
while.
He used to book CBs. He booked a place called the Deli. Like I had him on my podcast, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he's just like he is one of the best New York characters ever. But like I knew him from booking shows at Wetlands, and he would book my bands and numerous times, and so Aranzi Pazuzu, they're fucking somebody in their fucking ridiculous idiocy decided to book them in a hotel on like 8th Street and 42nd, the 8th Avenue and 42nd Street.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
yeah. So like their tour manager's like, oh, this is where we're staying, blah blah. And he's like, we have 14 road cases we need to get
Yeah.
to the bar. But I was like,
Jesus,
I'm like, all right, like who the fuck booked you in Times Square?
that's
Yeah.
insane.
Like
Because it was
stay in
cheap.
Long Island City around the corner.
Yeah.
You know. So I hired Johnny, stiff fucking man with van.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he shows, I was going to send him by himself.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. So I show up at the hotel and I ride, like we get everything in and like they meet Johnny and like they're just like, the tour manager's like, I was like, oh, everybody can get in the back of the van. I'm like, no. We'll take a separate cab. And one of the guys got in the van with him. Oh my God, it was the trip from hell.
Yeah.
It was so fucking funny. He was like, he just like, you know, he's a typical New Yorker where it's like, we all do it. We're like, we kind of narrate the drive.
Right.
It's like, I tell my wife that. She's like, why do you have to fucking yell all the time? Because I'm narrating it.
Yeah.
This is a documentary about driving,
Yeah.
and I'm narrating it.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be a little bit racist, okay? Oh, but it's true. Like, you know, everybody becomes something. It's like, Chinaman.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody's
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
when you're, especially in New York, like because there's so many different people.
Yeah.
But you don't mean anything by it. You're just saying it. But
Yeah, you're
Johnny
yelling at
is
people.
out of control. Like, nice ass. You know, like shit like that. He's fucking screaming shit. And this Finnish kid is just sitting in the passenger seat going,
Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
it was fucking hysterical. I love this guy so much. He's just like, he's such a, like in the history of New York hardcore and shit, like this guy is like just a massive, incredible part of it.
Right,
but
right,
just
right.
like a true New York character.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a shit what he says.
Yeah.
Like he has no idea about Me Too or
He was in here last week, Melody. You recognized if you saw him. He comes in once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, whenever he comes to Vitus, he like perches up next to the sound booth and just sit there like, audience, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like I say, Johnny, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
This wouldn't exist without me. I know Johnny. Totally.
Yeah. Nice.
So they're great. I saw Dodheimsgard, and they were one of the only bands I didn't like in Finland. And then I went to St. Vitus to see them last week or whenever the fuck that was, and they sounded better at your place than
cool.
they did in Finland. So.
Well, was it an outdoor festival?
It was, but they played inside. There was an outside and an inside stage.
Okay, so like MDF
It
used
just
to be.
was, it's like that. It's not. I mean, it's all black metal. It's not huge, but Tormentor played, which was fucking amazing.
Black metal is very touchy with making it sound good. You know,
Yeah.
because like when I found a couple of years ago, well, even you know, early on when black metal became like a trend, which it did, both in fashion and musically,
Yeah.
right? Like there were a lot of people who kind of just latched onto it.
Well, and I think that's why there's more girls in black metal.
Exactly.
Too, because it's fashionable.
Yeah, and which is
Well,
fine.
it's not
Which,
just that. There's a lot of bands that are very pretty sounding. It's a lot different
there's
than
the
death
atmospheric part of
metal,
it.
you know.
But like you know, I'm not gonna comment on like whether a girl should like something that's like this or that. But but I do enjoy the idea of like girls being into it. You know, like if it. Whatever it is that brings, like, there is something about it, honestly.
Yeah.
There is a mysticism or, like, whatever the fuck it is. But, like, I do see that for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, what I found with black metal at a certain point a bunch of years ago was that it was sort of the new punk, where if you didn't play your instrument that well, you could just kind of go, you know, you could play a fucking 16ths on your, you know. And as long as you had a good drummer, you're all good.
Yeah.
And like there were just like so many bands that were doing this, and it's like, oh my god,
There's too many bands.
there's
too many.
what was good about it was that it made it easier to find the bands that were great.
Right.
You know, like there's bands like Mutilation Rights from Brooklyn, and you know, like I you know, love them or hate him, Mike Dimmitt. He writes great riffs, you know, and like that's a black metal band that has great riffs. They're taking the Dark Throne thing and doing like something cool with it and making it actually sound good.
Right.
You know, like the Imperial Triumphant, another great fucking local, great. Oh my god, holy shit! The guitar work on that is just so fantastic. Like,
Right.
but like there at the time, like 6 or 7 years ago, even maybe even less than that, you'd have these bands that like I'd just be like, this band sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sucks, and this is the new punk, and see all those people playing. They're going to be doing something. What's next? Doom. Okay, they're going to be playing in a Doom band next week.
Right.
You know, like it's a weird thing to see and a weird thing to sort of comment on, but that's kind of the way it rolls. And at the end of the day, like it's all different subgenres of metal. So like whatever, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm into it, but I don't know what the end game is for anybody these days.
Right.
Have fun with it.
Does
you
there
know?
have to be anymore? I mean, a lot of black metal bands don't even want to get heard. They're putting shit out only on cassette, and they don't even want you to have it. It's like a thing.
I don't know. I'm a child of the '80s, and
Right.
and I've had 2 major label deals, and I'm like I kind of go. Yeah, I'd like some people to hear my shit. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but I think that's normal. I think it's odd that some bands are like I opened like a cassette,
But
and
they
it said-
don't. They do.
It literally
they
said
do it on purpose
it
because
said no contact. Fuck you inside the cassette instead of having like any.
I mean, that's
contact
cool. You spent all this money
information.
recording. Good for you guys. Like,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, obviously, you're independently wealthy and you enjoy that.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily spend a lot of money recording anymore because you can do things very cheaply now.
You can.
but-
But it's not the same,
Yeah.
I mean, I
There's
mean,
a lot of these
No,
one-
have you ever played in a band?
I did, yes.
Yeah. What?
It was called Unto Ashes, and it was kind of a apocalyptic folk goth kind of thing.
That fits.
We were on Project Records. And
Oh, cool,
We
okay.
put some albums out. They're still going, actually.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, we're learning things about
It's
each other.
on
Yes.
it's on Spotify if you want to check it out. I played on the first 2 albums.
You guys didn't know that I was a Long Island hardcore godfather?
I'm
And
glad
I-
you
I mean, people listening out there are going like, what? Dude.
This is how you learn. This is how we learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you listening
I've
to
had
these
25 releases, 25 commercial releases in my life.
No shit.
days? That's a lot.
Yeah.
25. It's fucking nuts.
There's a lot of good bands that came out of Long Island that,
Strong
like,
Island.
Strong Island.
Don't say that, please.
You know what I always thought was underrated, came out of Long Island, was Neck.
Oh, Neck was great.
Neck was
Yeah.
fucking great. And
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
like ahead of their time, I felt like, when they first started coming out. And
Well, they were in the ashes of Neglect. So Neglect is, as far as that style goes, so Neglect, we share drummers. My band shared drummers with Neglect.
Okay.
And if you're unfamiliar with Neglect, I would say get familiar with it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
They basically were a hardcore band that stole obituary riffs.
Okay.
And had a skinhead singer who was a fucking total freak show and would cut himself and like the whole nine. It was a whole thing
Right.
that went on Long Island, but like it was almost cult-like. It was really fucking weird.
Nice.
But they're fucking great. And Hatebreed basically stole their sound from their first Hatebreed record is a split with Neglect.
Okay.
And they were fucking just, but Hatebreed, well, Jamie actually had a fucking head on him.
Yeah, he did.
And wasn't a mental patient like
Yeah,
the rest
yeah.
of the Neglect guys. So
Yeah.
he was able to keep it together and fucking do something cool. But if you ever asked Jamie about Neglect, he'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like that band rules.
Yeah.
Like they were a band that I feel like it's like it was Neglect and Mind Over Matter, my band. We were the 2 bands that sort of like, we stole. Well, we were also booking all the shows on Long Island, but we stole all the shows from the city because when CB's died,
Right.
it was like, okay, where are we going to go? And bands started skipping the city and just coming to Long Island.
Right.
And we booked. The pinnacle of our booking was Fugazi. I didn't have anything to do with that. I'm not going to take credit for it, but like it went from like venue to venue to venue, and then they found this place called the PWAC, with the People with AIDS Coalition, which was this massive warehouse in Lindenhurst that was completely illegal.
Right.
And like we would stick like 2,000 people, like VOD drew like 2,500 people. Wow. It was fucking insane.
Wow.
And but it was like all the money, and there was no profit. All the money either went to the bands or to the People with AIDS Coalition. So it was like, it was very
That's awesome.
PC.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a place that the singer of my band, Mind Over Matter, found because he wanted to find a place that we could do shows and benefit.
Mm-hmm.
But then my roommate, Arty Philly, who was the singer of Indecision and Millhouse and whatnot, he kind of took it over, and they had a coalition that signed this lease. It's a crazy story. There's a documentary coming out relatively soon that's kind of all about this shit, like very self-important bullshit. But it was cool because we all grew up in the shadow of New York City.
Right.
It was
right.
it was a half an hour away.
Right.
And some of us were, worldly enough to venture out. Our parents aren't. Our parents would never go. I'm not going to the city.
Yeah.
I can't park anywhere.
Yeah.
So like for us, it was like we got tired of the tough guy bullshit in the city that was going on, all DMS stuff and all that shit. We kind of we're over it, and so we created our own scene that became this kind of big thing out there, and it was fucking cool. You know, it was like
Nice.
I love those days where the '90s were fucking fantastic.
Yeah, the '90s were cool.
They were fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it was like and you know, I've managed to get almost every. It's funny because we were talking about the trend of reunions. I feel like I'm at the end of my trend of reunions. I don't think I can get any other bands together
Yeah.
anymore. The last one was Snapcase. It was like,
All right.
we got the Snapcase shows.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like me writing to them, guys,
Right.
just come down and fucking play.
Right.
Yeah.
We can sell 750 tickets through Bazaar and us. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's like
That's cool.
fucking torture to
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I don't know, man. You know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, you know, so I mean, don't they have to like get together and decide what they're going to play and practice those songs? It's a big pain in the ass.
It is a pain in the ass,
know?
but when you can sell out,
yeah,
you know, when you can sell 750 tickets
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
$20 a pop,
Yeah.
you know, would you want a couple of grand in your pocket?
Yeah, it's a nice
I
payday.
guess,
for a
but
weekend,
I guess it
and having your
depends
ego
on
filled for a
yes,
weekend.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
yes. But it depends on people's lives. People get older and they have all these
Oh, fuck yeah.
responsibilities
But
and fucking, you know.
Also-
that's why it's hard to just be like, sure.
Yeah, but
you
everybody
know?
loves nostalgia. You know that.
Yeah,
That's-
they do.
yeah, of course.
And like, you know, guys our age getting in their 40s, you know, mid 40s.
Last chance.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
You got
Come
your
on.
exactly. You know, it's kind of the last hurrah, you know, so.
I always like, every time I go on tour in Europe, I'm always like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to be here. And I've been doing that for 20 years.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just be like, I got to see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like wake
But
up
that's
early,
good.
go see
Yeah.
everything.
Do that.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
good to do
it's
that.
my favorite thing in the world. I mean, when I go to England, I'm just like, I'm a pig in shit. I
Right,
just
right.
feel like I am in my, it's not completely my ancestral home because I'm very American.
Why do you love it so much?
I've always been an Anglophile.
Okay.
My grandmother was English.
Yeah.
And every Sunday we would have Sunday roast, even though I didn't know what Sunday roast was. We would just have dinner at my grandma's.
Right.
Right.
And I remember the first time I was in England. England was also one of the. I don't like when I was on a major label and like I did Download Fest. I played Download Festival 4 times.
Wow.
Like I did like Reading and Leeds, like in front of 6,000 people. Like I
Wow.
had all these like the embracing that went on was incredible for me personally, and like so being an Anglophile and then that in turn happening was such an incredible experience. And so yeah, that's kind of why. But I remember the first time I walked into a pub and it was like, oh, it's Sunday, we're gonna get Sunday roast, and I was like,
Yeah.
it smells like my grandmother's house.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was just so cool. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, because your grandmother's from England, and
Right.
that's what she was doing. She was
Right.
making
Right.
Sunday roast. Sunday
Yeah.
roast was a bunch of fucking meat and shit on thing, and then you pour all the gravy over it, and you just eat all of it.
Right.
And everybody gets drunk, and it's fucking fun.
Yeah.
Great.
It's very British to get drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Is that your
Nice.
what's your favorite place other in England? Like, do you have a favorite city or do you have a favorite?
Manchester is pretty
Is it-
special. I've always had great times there, and it's just like there's a vibe in Manchester that's really cool. Like when I started touring over there, it was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And it's become very metropolitan, very different now. Maybe gentrified.
Well,
would be-
isn't that happening everywhere, basically?
Yeah, kind of. Manchester is a place that I don't think anybody would have ever expected it. But,
Right.
no, I mean, in London, there's just like, so there's a bunch of metal bars in London that especially just before Vitus was being built out, I was touring a lot with a band called Gay for Johnny Depp,
Right.
one of my other bands. Which was like a spazcore band that was actually the most popular band I've ever played in.
Go figure.
Yeah, I know, right? But I made a point of just like, hey, I'm going to go to, you know, like people would always talk, yes, you're into metal?
Yeah.
You know, because they didn't, you know, if you're in hardcore scene or like, people didn't expect it, but I would always, you know, show my colors,
Right.
you know, wear a t-shirt or, you know, like whatever. Yes, you're into metal? Yes, you should come to this place with me. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So every town we were in, it didn't matter what country it was, I would go to the local metal bar.
Right.
And it was, you know, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
And in London, there's a couple. There's one called the Crowbar.
My friend Olivia is the manager there. Olivia!
How long has she been the manager for?
A long time.
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we were over, we hung with
The
her.
color live, blonde.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
awesome.
Super cool.
Well, I have to say that was an inspiration for us when
The Intrepid Fox, really.
The
was.
Intrepid Fox.
Well, the
Yeah.
Intrepid Fox, yeah.
Which is
so
gone
that had
now.
two locations.
It had three. And
Three?
the third
Gee, I
one
never
was
saw
like
the third one.
barely. It was not long, and I heard the owner just basically got.
I
caught
felt
up
like
in
the
a lot
Intrepid
of
Fox
shit.
is like the Redux was a little over the top.
Right.
The original one is fucking great.
Right.
And I can
Which
see
was
that.
in
I can see
Soho.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And that's the one we went to.
That's the we went to the original
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I went to the second one.
Okay.
Which was near Crowbar, actually.
Yeah.
So have you ever been to Garlic and Shots?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So Garlic and Shots was a huge one for me.
Yeah.
One day, I spent a lot of time over there when I wasn't on tour. I would stay for a couple weeks before and after, when whatever. I found the environment to be very inspiring.
Right.
And so I go, and of course I could get drunk, so whatever.
Yeah.
Although it's way expensive.
Yeah.
So I went to Garlic and Shots one day, and I go downstairs, and I think it was daytime when I was there, and I was just like,
Still pitch black.
Yeah,
down
still-
there.
yeah. I mean,
Okay,
well, of course, there's no windows. Yeah. And they were playing The Shining, the Swedish Shining, the really depressing Shining. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I had a moment, man. I was like, this rules. It's like 101 shots,
Yeah.
2 different beers, Bud and San Miguel.
Yeah.
Like, this place is the fucking shit.
Yeah.
And my sound guy eventually met me there, this guy Rich, who's from Nottingham. And we were just like fucking chilling. I was like, this is the shit. And I remember coming back from that tour, and Vitus was like sort of half built.
Right.
So they had built the stage. The second version of the stage, there were 2 versions of it. The second version of the stage was up, and I stood up on stage, and I just looked out, and I went, I want to fucking play here.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
So that was very much like, because I had left with like this stage sucks. We need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And it just felt like, it was just one of those moments where I sort of saw all the influences. Like we George brings in the sort of, the glam rock thing, which
Right.
is totally his thing. And he grew up in Brooklyn, and he lived at L'Amour's basically, but he was, White Lion is his, and TNT are his favorite shit.
I mean, that was
Nice.
the shit in the 80s.
I know,
you
it's cool. Yeah, but not for me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. I'll listen to White Line and TNT and Dokken and shit like that. And it'll be like, all right, this is pretty cool. Rat,
Yeah.
it's pretty heavy, good songs. But thrash was where it was at the time. But
That's how I was, too.
But the way that it was done, the guy who was designing it was just like, he was doing this weird stained metal thing, and it was like, that looks cool. We should do more of that.
Right.
And then it was like, we wanted to make the bathrooms confessionals.
Yeah.
Just take it as far as we could, but we couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
And we were going to
Yeah.
put stained glass on the front, and we couldn't afford to do that either.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
just moved it inside. But but it was, the idea was to make a Byzantine church,
Yeah.
like a Greek Orthodox style church. But we didn't have the money for that. But the idea is that, these places that we were going to, I was just like, I was bringing all the shit back on. I want to do this.
Yeah.
This is how I want this place to, and like what you guys were saying with the Intrepid Fox,
Yeah, you
I totally
right.
get it.
And that's what happened. I remember
We had they had posters on the ceiling of the original
That-
location. So we did posters on the ceiling at the first Lucky 13. And we
Yeah.
loved it.
I remember it.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah,
And people were like, "That's a great idea," and I'm like, "Well, we actually took it from somewhere." This place
Yeah.
called
Yeah, but I
Intrepid
mean, it's
Fox.
not that original
You
an idea,
know?
so it's okay.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
It's cool though.
And it was, I at the time when we first opened up, I mean, we were like, there was nothing else going on, and there was no other metal bar in the city.
No.
You know what I mean? There was Bellevue Bar up in Hell's Kitchen, but that wasn't even a metal bar at the time. I mean, it was a cool rock and roll bar, but so. But yeah, and that's what the inspiration for Lucky 13 was. They'll go in there and be like, "Fuck, man, we got to do something like this."
Yeah, I mean, I was in Munich. I was anywhere I would go, I would see these metal bars. That
Barcelona
were fucking
has the
awesome.
best metal bars.
I've never been.
Barcelona
Yeah,
has
Barcelona's
the
got
best
some
metal
good
bars.
metal
Yeah.
bars.
I did a tour. I got my accents coming
Yeah.
out.
It's out of control.
Yeah, you get a little
actually.
buzz in the fucking.
I did a
accent comes
tour
out.
in with Gay for John Depp and my old band Godfather's Man, and we did Europe, and then I had a week off in between for Europe and England, and so I was like, where should I go?
Right.
I'm gonna go someplace for a week, and everybody was like fucking off. Like each guy was going to a different place, and so I was like, I'm going to Barcelona, and I was flying out of Frankfurt, and I didn't really know. Like I was looking at Ryanair and like all the shitty cheap stuff, and like I was like, oh well, it's 2 hours outside of the Barcelona, like this, that, the other. I was trying to find the airport. I just didn't ask the right people.
Right.
So I kind of compromised, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to Edinburgh for a week.
Right.
So I went to Edinburgh for a week by myself, which was, I mean, what I learned a lot about myself. I'm not very sociable.
Yeah.
I don't make friends easy.
Yeah.
I I'm so damaged from touring and being in bands and shit that I'm just used to being surrounded by people who know me, or I know them, or like whatever the case might be, and all, either that or like the symbiotic relationship of when you're on tour and like you're sitting at the merch table, and the reason someone's talking to you is because they want to buy merch, and like you know what I mean. Like there's like you make friends eventually, but meeting them, the actual like process of like saying hi and stuff like that, and like first meeting, I have a lot of trouble with that. And so I would hang out at this place called Bannerman's, which was the metal bar in Edinburgh. There's probably another one that I didn't know about, but it's right on Cowgate, which is where like the bodies used to go when they would throw
Neither
dead
of us
bodies out.
have ever been to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So.
It's fucking beautiful. It's incredible. It's Harry Potterville.
Okay.
And Greyfriars Cemetery is right down the block, and Greyfriars Cemetery is the most haunted cemetery in the world.
Okay.
It's beyond creepy.
It's
so creepy, but it's so awesome when you're fucked up and you just go there at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, and I'm to be by myself, like, this is so cool.
That's
like,
cool.
I'm gonna lay on graves and sing Merciful Fate songs. So cool. But it was an eye-opening experience for me to to realize that I'm not that sociable a guy.
Right.
Well, I always thought I was.
Yeah.
You know, and like, but travel alone. It's you just did it.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know if it's different for a girl, like, because you're probably more guarded.
I'll talk to anybody. Ask Jeff.
Yeah.
I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm very social.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't
know
care.
That, but
No, but really, like if I'll talk to complete strangers, I'll butt into other people's conversations if I have something to say. Like I really am just like
New York
that.
style. It's all right.
Yeah.
Well, and listen, I'm like you in that way too. Like I had a hard time. Like I want to travel alone, doing some things alone, but I know how I am.
Jeff's always like, I don't know, and I'm like, I'm going by myself, and he's always like, I don't know. I love going places by myself because I feel like you have experiences that you maybe wouldn't have if you were talking to somebody else that you were with.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
I when I'm on tour, like I've at least with Primitive Weapons and Aegis, my other band, like me and Eric are really close, and he owns Lake Street and Goldie's.
Okay,
in you know Hipsterville.
Yeah.
And like fucking love it. He's making a mint.
Yeah.
But like him and I, we just fuck off.
Yeah.
It's like hey, we sound checked, and then it's like let's find whatever cool bar we can find nearby to go drink Negronis and fucking have fun and just talk to each. Like he also has a kid, but I very much like when we're touring, like that's sort of where my time goes.
Right.
Like whereas when I was a kid, or even when I played fucking houses in VFW halls for 15 years.
Yeah.
And like that shit was fun.
Yeah.
In retrospect, it was fun. At the time, it'd be like, shit, we got to stay here.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was where you got laid or you had fun or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like because you actually got to spend time with people.
Yeah.
And like numerous times over and over again, like you come back through and be like, hey dudes, what's going on?
Yeah.
We're staying at your house again. It's cool. It's funny. The funniest part about that is that I've experienced that culture in so many ways. Like I can't even tell you, like in the late 90s, mid 90s to mid 2000s. But what's funny is when people move here and try and co-opt that culture into here, into New York, which is just like bullshit. So like you want to run your fucking shitty DIY fucking like, oh, we don't have a liquor license, so we got PBR in a fucking bucket and oh, no, we're not legal and like, but like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Welcome to New York, because your bullshit in fucking Richmond, Virginia isn't going to fucking work here.
Yeah.
And if you look at all the classic venues in New York, all the legendary venues, they all were legit.
Yeah.
They had to be, or got grandfathered into being legit. I mean, maybe not perfectly. Nobody's perfectly legit.
Right.
It's not. There's no way you could fucking operate like that. But it's like it's crazy, right? Like when and not to talk shit about them. I played what was it? Fucking the one on Kent, 258 Kent, whatever. The one and fucking the one that was next to the Pop Gun. Shit, I gotta piss again. No, like I've played a lot of these DIY venues here in New York. And
Well,
like,
especially
and
Williamsburg at the time when Williamsburg first started becoming Williamsburg, there was a ton of them.
Yeah, 538 Johnson was like somebody's fucking apartment. I went to see a Walking Concert, which is Walter from Quicksand's other band, and I go there and I'm just like, and I had heard about this place, and I was just like, this is cool. In Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like not here in New York.
Yeah.
Like you can't not bother somebody.
Yeah.
Like you can't expect to just fucking roll in and be like, hey, we're going to be DIY punk rock. That's cool, bro.
Yeah.
Are you a multimillionaire who owns a building that's in the middle of fucking nowhere?
Yeah.
Great. Enjoy yourself with that one.
Dude,
Like,
when we first opened up Lucky 13, there was a place in Sunset Park that was having shows.
It was a house.
And I was like,
Yeah.
yo, and they were calling it something. And I was like, I got to go check this out. I knew somebody that was playing there. I went to go check it out. You literally walk through somebody's kitchen and then walk down into the fucking
which is
basement.
awesome. Again, it's awesome. If you can get away with it, that's fucking killer.
Yeah, it didn't
But
last
it doesn't
very long.
last.
But they don't have
Were they
soundproofing.
Were they Hispanic, satanic Hispanics?
Yeah, I don't know. There were a bunch of like young
Sunset Park would be
white fucking hipster kids.
Really?
you know?
White kids
Yeah.
in the Sunset Park?
Yeah.
Lame.
It was, and this is fucking,
Lame.
and this is 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
Arty's going to pee again.
Yeah, Arty's going to go pee, and we're going to wrap it up in a few minutes anyway because you got to get out of here. You got to go to work soon, correct?
Yes, I do.
So, yeah, no, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. But yeah, what the fuck was the name of that? I don't remember.
I don't
the name
remember
of
what
that
it was
place.
called
But it was a
either.
bunch of white kids in Sunset Park, and when you did go into the basement, it was all fucking. They did have insulation on the walls, like it was all like
the Pink Panther shit.
yes,
Yeah.
but it was like really thick,
Right.
And fucking.
So they were trying.
They
at
were,
least.
they were trying.
Yeah.
It was like wrapped in plastic. It was all like plastic on the
That's
walls
crazy.
with like really thick
Yeah.
fucking insulation. And they did a decent job.
How did they
like,
serve booze?
you brought your own booze.
You- oh, it was a BYOB.
And you put it in the refrigerator upstairs.
Oh my God, that's
In
hilarious.
somebody's refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like, I don't know, it was like $5 at the door. You go downstairs and saw.
I remember the place. I just don't really remember anything about it.
Yeah, I don't think you never went there, right?
No,
I went there
no.
with Miguel and stuff one time. I remember some band that played at Lucky 13 was playing over there,
Yeah.
so I wanted to go fucking check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was totally DIY. And there was a couple places in Williamsburg I went to. I went to some loft
There
over
was
there.
a place called, what was it called in Williamsburg? Maybe it wasn't Williamsburg. Maybe it was
DBA?
Bushwick. Death by
Audio.
Death
Yeah,
by
DBA.
Audio, yeah.
Yeah, I played there a
Yeah.
couple times.
I saw Wolves in the Throne Room there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was some like that. That place was great. It was owned by or run by the people who are in A Place to Bury Strangers,
Okay.
a band, which like they built DBA pedals out of there.
Okay.
Death by Audio pedals.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like it was, that place was great, and you know, like, and there was like that whole corner was filled with DIY spaces. That whole
Right.
building until Vice bought it.
Right.
You know, but I mean, like how long?
You can't get away with that anymore now. I mean, there was,
No.
you know, back then you could.
Barely.
Barely you could get away with it. But I mean, I knew kids living in fucking garage spaces in Williamsburg back
Still,
in,
yeah.
1997.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It was cool as fuck, though. I mean, it was scary as fuck. I mean, going over there. But
This wasn't a long time ago, though.
It's
That-
really not.
Death
It's really
by
not. It
Audio,
changed
like I
very-
took Greg there.
I don't know where Death by
Yeah,
Audio was.
So it wasn't that long ago.
It's right by. It was on Second Street, between Kent and Wythe.
Okay.
But it's.
What was it? 7 years ago?
Yeah,
Something?
All right.
No, it
Less,
closed
more?
while we were open, so it has to be probably like 4 years ago.
Really?
They made a documentary about it.
Did they? Who did?
Somebody did. I've seen it.
I saw somebody there one time. I saw somebody there. If these trees could talk, I think I saw that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I saw
I
them
opened for
there.
108 there.
Yeah.
You know 108?
No.
Hare Krishna Hardcore Band.
No.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a rich history with Hare Krishna Hardcore Bands.
I love it.
Awesome.
Is Shelter considered a Hare Krishna? Hare?
They are the epitome of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just at the show at Brooklyn Bazaar last week.
Yeah? How was it?
It was,
Lots of mala beads.
smelled like sandalwood. Yeah.
Smelled like sandalwood, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was cool. Like I toured with. All right, so I'll tell this. We can end on this story, which,
Fantastic.
if
All right.
you want to. So I toured with the band with Shelter. I was asked to do merch. I was like basically I had a van, so I would drive a lot of bands in the early '90s around the East Coast.
Right.
When I wasn't using it for my band, and so I got a call one day, and it was like, "Hey, Shelter needs a merch guy, van." Guy, whatever van. I was like, I'll do it for $50 a day, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which of course they loved. And I was like, what's the tour? Like, it's Typo Negative, Christian Death, and Shelter.
Wow.
And I was like,
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
So I drove. It was like 2.5 weeks. We went on the tour, and it was like one of the weirdest. I mean, I sort of knew some of the guys from Shelter. So Sammy Siegler, who was in Gorilla Biscuits and Rival Schools and whatnot. I already knew Sam. This is previous to me playing in a band with him, but like it was like how I met him, and it was like whatever. How we got to actually know each other. We were kind of like supporting each other during this tour because he wasn't Krishna, but everybody else was.
Right.
So we're in the van and they would just like chant the whole time. Like, it was fucking weird. And we would stay at these like Krishna, like there was so much money in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. Yeah. We would stay at these like rich people's houses and all this weird shit. And it was like such a fucking weird experience. And
I can imagine.
Yeah. So you know, here I am. I probably haven't not had a drink in one day. Probably, since I was 15. Right. You know, so I don't know how old I am here. I'm probably like 22, maybe if that. And so like I had to not drink for 2 weeks.
Wow.
But I mean, fair enough. I had to drive. So
right.
Whatever. But it was definitely pushing it.
Even while Typo was on or something, you weren't like pounding beers back
there?
No,
no, because I had to drive. I was driving the van. Okay. But like, so Typo, all right, so the scenario, just to put it in context, this is just after the Playgirl issue came out.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So Typo is like full on at this point. And there's literally, we would, you know, so I'm with a bunch of fucking Hare Krishna guys. This is just like fucking out to lunch weirdness. And I'm looking at Typo's fucking bus, and there's literally a line of girls down, and they would give him 15 minutes a pop.
Wow.
They roll in. I have no idea what went on in there. I'm sure it was fun.
Yeah.
Let's just hope, you know, no #MeToo bullshit. I'm pretty sure not, or else we would have heard about it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Pete was a very nice guy.
He was a gentleman.
He was on that tour, man. Holy fucking shit, what a cool guy. And we would stay at all these like weird mansions and shit. I remember being in DC, and we're staying at this person's house, and this guy was such a creep. Such a fucking creep. Oh my God. I was looking for fucking cameras in the shower and shit. I was like, this guy's such a creep. And this is before anybody knew that ISKCON was like a kiddie porn fucking thing.
Right.
And so, you know, like I'm taking a shower, I'm kind of weirded out, but I met this woman named Mother Yamuna, who was Prabhupada. Prabhupada was a guy who was the head of the Krishna movement here in the West. Okay. He brought it over here, whatever, and like she was his assistant. So she had met the Stones. She had met all the Beatles. She had met everybody. Right. Like, fucking crazy. She had the best stories ever, and she cooked me a vegan birthday cake. It was my birthday. Okay. And it was fucking glorious. Yeah. Like, it was incredible. And I remember giving a piece to Pete Steele. So we didn't finish it. It was just so good. And it was so much like, this woman was such, like, she was just filled with love. Right. Like, you could just feel it.
Of course.
Like, you could just, like, I was eating it. I was eating the love.
Krishna is all about love. That's what Krishna is about.
Especially if you're a homeless guy in downtown Brooklyn and you want to live somewhere. Yeah. So we brought in some cake, and I gave a piece to Pete. And he's like, this is hellish. Yeah. That's all he said. It was so fucking, it was at the Trocadero in Philadelphia. I remember this very vividly. It was but that whole, so that we got to Long Island, we played at Sundance, the Roxy, sorry. Right. It was the new Sundance. And Christian Death broke up during the show.
Yes. No shit.
So VOD went on. VOD
that
went
was
on
the whole
first.
thing.
Yeah. Shelter played. Yeah, especially the newer versions of Christian Death, which are fucking ridiculous. Yeah. They were so bad. Yeah. And then Christian Death played, then Typo went on, and Christian Death broke up after they got off stage. No shit. And the drummer walks on stage during Typo's set and just throws all the merch out to the crowd. No. It was fucking amazing. It was so good. It was like one of those, like that whole experience. And it was so, seeing Shelter recently, it was just really funny. Sammy was like, he's like, you fell for it a little bit. I was like, no, I went to the temple a couple of times after the tour. I actually got I got a tattoo on my arm that was like a lotus flower, an Om and a lotus flower. But they turned, like, they would say shit like, you know, like Asian people are aliens. Yeah. Right. So like, there's this whole thing, interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita, where like, because Asians have the slanty eyes,
Right.
that they're aliens.
Wow.
They're from a different race.
You gotta watch some Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
There's one about how Shiva is an alien. Like,
Yeah.
it's
No
fucking
shit.
out
Well,
of
yeah, and
control.
the great battle in the sky.
I've watched some Ancient Aliens.
some of
There's
it's
an
really
amazing
out of
book that they
control.
gave me on that tour, which because my sister has been abducted by aliens. God, I'm white trash. And so like I told them that story, and they gave me this book. This Krishna guy had written this book about the Bhagavad Gita and the alien. Interpretations that were in it and all the shit. It was just one of those things. But like, yeah,
It's pretty wacky.
Yeah, it's super wacky. It's
Yeah.
even more. I wouldn't even say some of the shit that went on.
Now, are
but
those
it's
guys still
fucking wacky.
practicing and shit or no?
What's that?
Are those guys still
Yes.
practicing?
Oh,
They
yeah.
are,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and thank God yoga became a thing, or else they wouldn't have careers.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like they all like you got. I mean, if you look up John Purcell, who's the guitar player of Shelter, the guy is ripped. He's like 52.
Yeah.
And he's doing all these fucking,
Yeah.
And when they tour, what they do is they do like so. John, when he was here, he went to Gavin Van Vleck's gym and did a whole like yoga thing, and like they'll sell them out all the time because they're like well known.
Right.
So Capo and Porcel, they both do it. Like when they're on tour, it's like where Walter Schreifels from Quicksand, when he would tour, he would do an acoustic show across the street.
Right,
after They do yoga.
Yeah,
across the
that's
street.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah. 108 is actually the number of beads in a mala.
Right, and on rosary beads.
And it's
Oddly enough.
Well, rosary beads are copied from the mala.
Right, but I know
Yeah.
that. I mean, I grew up Catholic.
And they say that there's all these different interpretations of where the number 108 came from, and that a lot of ancient Indian texts actually knew the distance from the sun to the earth is 108 times the distance from to the moon to the earth, and it's true.
That's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
actually all true.
Right.
So it's really weird.
That whole
Yeah, which
wacky
is
thing with
crazy.
the base of the pyramid
Yeah.
being a 3.14, there's it's all 42. Like the numbers work in a universal way with the pyramids from in Mexico and Egypt.
And Egypt, yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
That stuff is crazy. So maybe the alien
Graham
shit isn't
Hancock.
that far
Yeah,
out.
read all Graham Hancock stuff
Yeah.
because he doesn't agree with the ancient aliens guys because
Right.
they just say it's all aliens.
They're out of
But
control.
his idea is that civilization existed in a very advanced way and was wiped out 10,000 years ago.
Right, right.
And a few people survived, and those are the people that brought on, like, when he talks about Egypt and he talks about the hieroglyphs and all this shit, like, the hieroglyphs just appeared.
Right.
How did that happen? Like, they didn't develop a language. They just suddenly appeared. Somebody just came with it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that don't make any fucking sense. And, of course, we're
it's
always going to
true.
look to weird shit for the answers.
Yeah,
Well, what's
And
the,
we'll probably
what's
never
the
know.
alternative?
But I have to say that I feel like a lot of the answers are going to come to Göbekli Tepe. Like a lot of these sites that they're finding that are so ancient, and also with modern technology and radar scanning from space, they can find all of these spaces and shit underground that they didn't know existed. I think a lot of stuff is going to come out in the future. Whether people give a shit or not is another story. It's like, because honestly, at the end of the day, like, with climate change, we're going to lose a shit ton of fucking land,
Yeah.
and with
Yeah.
sea level changes. So worrying about where the pyramids of Giza came from, it's like kind of low on the
There's
priority
still
list.
always going to be people that are obsessed with
Yeah, they
that
are.
stuff, though.
Oh,
you know?
I totally am.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel like I'm wasting my time when I do it, but I still want to do
But
it.
Yeah.
but if it's something that intrigues you, it's not a time waster.
Yeah.
I
If
know.
it makes your brain work, it's not a time.
That's what
waster.
podcasting's all about.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to learn stuff.
Exactly.
I love to be able to just sit around and listen to shit and be like, I'm learning shit. I love this.
Yeah.
Even like people give Joe Rogan shit, but like he gets the best interviewer.
Oh, he gets great interviews on there.
Like it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Like you just
Jeff
like I would
likes it.
never
Yeah.
have heard of this person before, and
Yeah.
they're talking about things that I would never understood or like heard about.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, fuck yeah.
Yeah, man.
God bless the podcast revolution. man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is
I have
fucking
to
cool.
say.
Look at
There
us
is,
now.
and there's a podcast about
I envy us.
everything. You
There
know
is,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's great.
It's actually, there's too many. 'Cause
There's way
sometimes
too many.
I
There's
hear,
way too many.
there's this podcast about this and this. I don't have time for all that. Like, I got to choose something.
That's why
And,
I don't know if you guys know Ron, my co-host, Ron Grimaldi.
No, I don't know.
The old school fucking, he's a total freak.
Yeah.
And I love having him on my fucking show because he just like, he'll sit there and talk about his weird sex life and shit. and then his 10,000 records that he owns.
And nice.
I just was like, come on, keep talking about it.
Do you
dude.
still collect
Yeah.
vinyl? Do you still collect
I do.
vinyl? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like a ton of it? Is your wife ready to kill you?
No, I mean, I had a lot of it in storage for years. And I finally, I got it out of my sister's house. And,
all right.
and basically around when Vitus opened, I got it out. Because I wanted to decorate the bar with as much cool shit as I could.
Right.
Oh, is a lot of that stuff yours?
It's all mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's cool. I have to say that's what's cool about having the bar, because you can just kind of keep collecting more shit. until
Right.
you
Yeah.
run out of wall space. But then, whatever. That's why I like having the bar. I still have a lot of shit in my apartment, but
Yeah,
most of it's
I
it.
literally have nothing. Everything went to. The only thing I have is all my Oasis collectibles, which
Right. Well, I took a couple of the expensive things out of here, like
You took the Evil Dead
I took the Evil
poster.
Dead poster out that's signed by Sam Raimi and the whole cast.
Yeah.
And after that, doll went missing. And then I have a couple of things just I like. I mean, I have a Chopper Reed. I don't know if you Chopper Reed is.
Yeah.
I have a couple Chopper Reed things, which I don't.
we don't leave anything within touching distance of anybody.
No. And everything's pretty much nailed down for the most part. But whatever.
We had shit stolen at the old spot.
Yeah, no, he was telling me about it.
Depressing.
Yeah, like we definitely like made a point of like when we were starting to put shit that was out, like we put the pictures up,
Yep.
which a friend of ours did a series of a lot of big bands playing with our logo in the background
Yep.
when they didn't put a banner up, and so like that shit was so hard, man. Like doing the flyers in the back, the T-shirt that we just put out, which I don't know if you've seen. Like,
I haven't seen it yet.
I basically wanted to make a shirt that looked like a festival.
Okay.
So and like, but choosing the bands to be on it was so fucking hard, and I forgot so many. I didn't. I the only rules I had were no local bands, because if I put one, I got to put everybody.
Yeah.
And then like I was trying to satiate, like say Ed or Vinny, like these guys were like
Yeah.
it's like they did these shows, but like the bands aren't. They're not Ohm, and they're not Sleep, and they're not, you know what I mean? Like, so like Cult of Fire I put on there, and like a couple other bands.
Who I just saw at Steelfest
Sick.
and
So
were
sick.
amazing. Yeah.
They played our place, which is insane.
Yeah.
But I was trying to satiate different people. I was like, and then I went like, does Grim Reaper deserve to be on there? Probably not. They've never sold the place out. Does Fates Warning deserve to be on there?
Yeah.
Probably not. They never sold the place out. Does Metal Church? No, probably not. They never sold the place out. But they're old school metal bands, so I was like, we got to represent this. And I got to represent hardcore. Originally, I wanted to do like a hardcore stage, like a new wave of British heavy metal stage,
Right.
But I gave up after a while. It was just so like literally 6 months of back and forth with the designer trying to make this fucking shirt.
Nice.
And I still like when it got printed, I was like, fuck.
I forgot
put it up
that.
online, and people were just like,
What about this?
What
Yeah.
about this? We got the singer of Horrors, Christian. He's like, dude, really? I'm like, dude, I forgot.
You can never make everybody happy.
I forgot Minus the Bear. I forgot fucking Battles.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You're just going to have to do a couple different versions of it. That's all right.
I know, yeah. Like George was like, "Why don't we just do one for every year?" So I was like, "Oh fuck,
No,
man,
that's
this is
too
too much.
that's
I was
way
like,
too much
Look,
work.
we got Nirvana, and it says they actually played here.
That's cool.
Anthrax and Megadeth. Okay, cool. But it's should do it just like sort of decorating and sort of. I got approached about doing a fucking book.
Oh yeah.
Which was like I was like, well, we're not done yet. So, I was like, maybe when we're done, it's like putting out a greatest hits before you break up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was very odd, but like, he was like, you could make, this much money. I was like, yeah, but I'm going to work for 2 years, doing all this shit. Like,
And like you said, you're not done yet. We're
we're not.
done.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it while you're still going, but the guy actually sold me pretty heavily on it, but I just knew it was going to come down. Like, I would be like, hey guys, let's all do this together, and it would be like, yeah, sure, and that would last 2 months, and then
Yeah.
everyone would kind of go off in their own ways.
Yeah.
But it's that shit's it's just hard to do. It's hard to make everybody happy and
you
do all
can't
this
make
shit.
everybody
Like we gave up a long time ago. We started booking indie shows. We were just like, we're gonna do indie shows now because we can't pay the rent.
Yeah,
if we don't, because metal rules, and it's what we want to do.
Right.
But there's just not enough to go around. And then there's you're in New York, which is the most competitive.
Yeah.
Place in the world.
Yep. And
the number one market in the world.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to compete against Live Nation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any night of the week, there's 1,000 things going on.
Yeah.
There's so much shit going on. Yeah.
Hard.
And not only that, you nail the show, and then what other shows are going on that night?
Right.
Yeah.
So people's attention are taken. It's a good example of that is the amount of no shows we get from the will call. which we've been keeping track of for the past couple of years, and it's so interesting to me. Where like 70 people don't show up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To a show
right?
that they bought tickets for.
Yeah,
and you're just kind of like, how the fuck? And in my brain, that is less money at the bar.
Right.
So like 70 people times however much at the bar. And I'm looking at like, that's the only way we make money.
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck would 70 people decide not to come to a show?
Yeah.
It's
Whether they forget.
Yeah.
There's something else going on that they decide they'd rather go to. There's
Of
so many
course.
possible
Yeah,
reasons.
there is.
it doesn't end. It
But it's
doesn't end.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we all do it.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I've only done it if I've actually forgotten that I bought tickets to something. That's the only time.
well, we
I've
try
done
we
that.
try and do everything possible to remind people up until the day of.
Yeah.
But it's just like promoting and like the way that Facebook works and social media. It's just like the whole thing is so much more than it used to be. Like in the 90s, it would be like, yeah, go hand out flyers.
Yeah, that's it.
And like you were saying, you go to Lemoy's without even
Just
knowing
go.
what was going on.
Yeah, you look in the back of the Village Voice, and there was fucking, see what the fuck is going
Sit
on.
online and ask the place to fucking get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like that shit. That was like a lot of fun. But nowadays, it's you're competing with so much. There's so much noise.
Yeah.
There's so much noise, and like God bless your place. God bless our place. Like places that can stay independent, kick ass. Places like fucking elsewhere, or like some of the newer places that are opening up. Just like it's killer.
Yeah.
Like it's great. I mean, granted, elsewhere. $4 million to fucking do it,
Well,
but look at we didn't have shit. You guys didn't have shit.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
And we did something that's fucking cool, and and we all support each other. Like that's the way this fucking scene should roll.
Yes.
And that is the way the scene should roll. You know what I
Agreed.
mean? That's what's annoying about
Let's
You
just
can be
not-
competition.
Let's not end on a bad
You can be
note.
competition, but you can be friendly competition.
No,
and
exactly.
it's like I'm jealous of the regular crowd you guys have.
Yeah.
That makes me, like I come in and I'm just like, oh fuck, man, like this is cool. But at the same time, like I really like these people and I want them to be successful.
Right.
Because the more successful we all are, the bigger the scene gets, the more it perpetuates itself.
Yeah.
It just feeds on itself, and
Yeah.
that's what
We don't
people
get
need
any
to
good
learn.
shows though, so you're the one that gets all the good shows. So you get
We
the
get-
good shows, and we get the just people that come in just to drink.
Well,
Yeah,
we get- we
but
get-
there's something to that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there is, and listen, and that's what it is. Listen, we get a lot of our stage is smaller, the back room's smaller. We get a lot of the local guys. We don't get the big names in here, but some of these local guys pack it out.
Yeah,
and as I said,
some of them
we got the front bar where it's like even if shit's going on, we still got people coming in.
Right,
which is
exactly,
good,
and you
know
can
what I
stay in
mean? So,
business.
yeah.
And again, that was our situation in the beginning when people actually lived in Greenpoint, and then
Yeah.
after a year they all fucked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bed-Stuy, Bushwick, and Richwood, and so we had to become a full-time venue. And
Yeah.
when you're a full-time venue, it's really hard to have regular business because shit's loud all the time. People don't want to fucking hear it. Maybe you guys have the door here. Like we put the door at the front. We used to do it in the middle.
Yeah,
We
you
eventually
used to do
put
it
it
in the
at the front because it was just like, this is pointless. You
Yeah.
know? And people can just basically watch the show.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to control all the elements of it.
Yeah.
But so everybody's got a different niche, and that's cool. And man, we'll throw you shows.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
We get them.
Yeah.
We get stuff that we're just like, oh, we can't do that. We're booked. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's not big enough for Bazaar. It's
Yeah.
not big enough for Elsewhere.
Right.
We'll talk about it. Not on there.
Love it. Love
All right, well,
it.
we got to wrap it up because you have to go.
Yeah, we
soon.
do have to wrap.
Yeah,
up.
I have to go pick up my daughter.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
I
guys.
love you guys. You
Thank you for
fucking
coming
rule.
out, man.
Yay.
This has been
Thank
cool.
you for
We're gonna
having
have
me.
to do it
Thanks,
again.
Arty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Because
could've
I
kept
wanted to
going all
talk to
day.
you about some other things that just never happened. So.
Yeah, and I got to piss now too.
All right.
so.
Now you got to go piss.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys.
All right.
See you next week.
Later.